AgWeek Weather is sponsored by Bremer Bank. Connect with a banker today at bremer.com.
Will the weather be favorable for Thanksgiving weekend? Here's our Agri-weather outlook.
New weather pattern setting up as we move past the Thanksgiving holiday and on into the start of December. It does look like a pattern that will not bring a lot of stormy weather to the middle of the country. Now, there will be storms around the periphery, but not so much in the middle. It looks relatively quiet. And there will be some cool air for the season, but since most of the northern plains upper Midwest is now without snow on the ground, it's more chilly than it is cold, and that may not even have some staying power, as in fact there is some evidence of some warm weather surging northward again once we get into December. A little different kind of warm air than what we had back in earlier in the fall, but still. Frigid weather, sub-zero temperatures have encamped up around the area around Hudson Bay. A lot of freezing weather is now covering the Rockies, most of Canada, the northern plains and Great Lakes, and northern New England. Cool weather is worked down to the jet stream about, and the only warm temperatures, the 70s, the 80s, and stray 90s are on the southern part of all this. As we go through this first week after the Thanksgiving holiday, I think the real frigid weather, the sub-zero weather, that's going to expand. Cold temperatures will really move in force in the northeastern states and the Great Lakes. We'll start getting modest temperature relief up into the western part of the plains, but not the Rockies, and there'll be some warm weather in California. As the jet stream shifts, becomes a little more zonal, there actually will be toward the end of the week a push of cooler weather into the south and some cold weather covering much of the eastern edge of the Midwest and the Great Lakes. Again, some temperature relief in the central plains, and the frigid weather will persist, I believe, up around Hudson Bay and even begin to expand back to the west a little bit. As we get on into that first full week of December, we'll see more cold weather in the western part of the continent, on the eastern part of Canada, and I think with a little bit of ridging in the middle, we may actually see the cold weather retreat and get into some milder weather into the northern plains region. But we're not going to see a lot of heat in this pattern, a little too much general west to east flow. Now, as far as precipitation goes, as we go through the first week here after Thanksgiving, a lot of dry weather for the northern plains region. Pretty good snows coming down into the mountains that will try to spread out a little bit into the high plains. There may be some spots of light precipitation a little bit south of this. And I look for at least one nor'easter type storm, probably not a super heavy one, but there will be some precipitation, rain in the south, transitioning into cold into the northern areas, and probably some temporary transition in the northeast. The second week in early December looks relatively dry across the north, but as is typical in El Nino Decembers, we're starting to see some rainier precipitation becoming steadier across the southern part of the states.